Sorry, Beth.
Do you have the broom?
Oh, I did sweep yesterday, but I'm pretty sure I put it back there. Want me to check upstairs and see if it's around?
Well, as I said, I was looking for it last night.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm positive I brought down for this reason specifically, and I did. I don't have it up here. Just an FYI, this is one of those reasons when people get really angry and they vent out their frustrations on you. You sense their frustration, and it makes a very easy situation difficult, and it makes you really feel like you're always being attacked, because you are being attacked. But here, just pay attention. Nope. So I just checked in my room, so it's I don't see it up in my room, but I just swept in the kitchen, and then I swept on the stairs. And I put
Where
it
would it go then? Because it was always there. Where would it go? I never touched it.
Okay.
Well, like, you're the only one, because Ryan's got one in his room.
He's got his own room? Okay. Okay, so I'm just back up in my room, and the most frustrating part about that is, just gonna lay on the bed here. So the most frustrating part about that is, yesterday, after I boiled some eggs, I just want to contribute, so I swept in the kitchen. And then on the stairs, like there's a staircase, so I just swept down the staircase, and then there was like two piles of dust and dander, like one in the kitchen and then one right near the staircase. So then I emptied them, swept them into the dustpan, emptied them into the garbage, and then I put the broom back. And I remember it was like kind of leaning against the wall. Like right, like the little nook there. But anyways, I just returned it to where I got it. So I don't know. It's not there. I don't see it right now. It's definitely not my room. I wouldn't keep the room or the broom here. But it's oh goodness, it's the anxiety that is that comes from the other person. That's goodness. I find it really, really difficult to be around. And I find, like, if I like to stretch this out to work, or say like in a professional atmosphere, I found like this was one of the most difficult things in the work atmosphere, is being around personalities that are very chaotic inside. So when they're upset about something, or if they can't find something, I'm used to myself, and I'm used to being around other people that are very settled. So they're just say, oh goodness, this isn't here. I always keep it here, but there must be a logical explanation. So then they just ask, but they ask from like a very settled internal atmosphere. So they can just ask politely, and then they just listen. And then if then you just move from one step to the next step to the next step until you find it. But I find when there's that aggression it puts the other person, like it makes them feel like, ay, 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 there's an attack going on. And when you feel that way, it has a physiological impact on you. So it invokes that, like, what our society calls like a fight or flight, um, the fight or flight response. So then you're like, right now, my neck feels very tense. My shoulders feel very tense. My breathing is like my chest is tight, so my breathing is restricted. So it makes, like, just from a physiological perspective, it makes it difficult to talk like from a calm, relaxed manner as you normally would. And so another thing I've noted is people will sense or they pick up on, um, like they pick up on like any change in like your response or reaction, but they can often misinterpret it. So they, like, you might be feeling um, like the physiological response or reaction from, like the anger and the aggression or the chaos that's inside of them. But then they might perceive that you're being, I don't know, maybe bitter, or that you're being, snappy or snarky, or that you're being, there's a word that means, like you're not taking them seriously, or you're not taking their, the issue that they're bringing to your attention seriously. When in actuality you are. It's just, it has more to do with the aggression that is cascading from them, an aggression that they're probably unable to recognize because they probably like are stewing in that aggression all the time. So it's more normal, like it's always there. It's just less frequently vented, or it's frequently there. It's just not frequently vented. And so anyway, so I find like going through these experiences, they're extremely difficult. I cannot express this enough, but learning from them is imperative. And also, if I'm going to share about these things and blog about these things and talk about these things, it's good to have like the actual, it's good to have like the actual experiences recorded. So then, it leaves less room for a misinterpretation. I find oftentimes when you talk about circumstances like this, and I can be guilty of this as well, where you think, I think they're just exaggerating this part, or, I think that's just the way they've interpreted it. But, in actuality, it probably was maybe a little less, or, you know what I mean? They might be a little hypersensitive. But I find when you have like these things recorded, um, then everyone's like in this case hearing like what took place, and then they're hearing like your immediate thoughts, while the residual effect is still, or say, permeating, or still evident, or still prevalent, or still existent in that moment. And so then it gives them like more of a holistic understanding, a deeper, a more comprehensive understanding. So everyone is hearing the same thing, and then like they're hearing you describe the same thing in the moment. So it's so important that these things, I think um, the value is found in just talking about these things in the moment. Because when I go throughout the day, then it's kind of like coming out of a shower, like you're wet, but then a couple moments later you're dry. It's everything evaporates off you. So, anyways, yeah. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm really not too sure with that. Like the broom literally isn't there by the door, so I'm not too sure where it would have went. Um, yeah, I really don't know. I think the next best step, the next logical step would be to ask. You could ask, there's another, like the owner of the house is here, and perhaps he went to sweep something up and moved it. You never know. Or perhaps like somebody just for some reason maybe it fell over and it got picked up and moved somewhere else. I really don't know. We'll find out where it is when we find out where it is. But I find for myself, I just don't get worked up about these things. It's there's always like in my mind, I'm always thinking, oh, there's a logical explanation, and we're gonna have to wait until that logical explanation unfolds. But to jump the gun or to like make an assumption or jump to a conclusion and then allow like that to be a vent or that to be a justification to vent out, frustrations, that's being very unaccountable with, something that you're responsible for. And so that's something that I'm very, always just make sure that I don't do this to others, and that I learn from these situations. So, anyways, yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult, and I was just thinking this morning, as I was working on some video shorts, and some quotes, and I was just thinking. It's a necessity to get out of this situation. Somebody actually made a comment. I think I've received 2 comments now on my YouTube channel, and the one person said, "You need to leave that place," and then I think they said something to the effect of like, "Invest in a cat." And I kind of chuckled to myself, and I was thinking, yes, like this like going through these things daily. And it's not just this place, it wasn't just the last place, and it wasn't just like the place before that. Like these things are really, they seem to be very, very prevalent in our society. I just want love. Oh goodness, I just want to grow. I just want to mature. I just want to be with my wife. I just want to enjoy sunsets and sunrises, and let nice, loving, edifying conversations. Oh goodness, I desire peace. Oh, God's peace. I desire to just to reach the potential that God has placed inside of me, and to bring forth the fullness of the purpose that He's ordained for me in this life. I desire truth in its purest form. I desire to serve Jesus and to live the commands of Jesus. Oh goodness, these are all the things I desire. And so it's also wonderful too to like for me, I know better. I understand that these are spiritual attacks. I understand that this morning I was praying for a young gentleman at the Bible study last night, and praying and praying and praying for him as prompted by the Holy Spirit. I understand that, oh goodness, like my thoughts are going towards the vision that God has placed or has revealed to me. So His will in this moment in time, and praying into it. So I also understand that as I seek to expand the kingdom of God, the enemy is going to utilize any and every vessel that will come into agreement, with his agenda. And these attacks are going to come back. They're going to come at me, and they're going to try to get me angry, or to get me offended, or to virtually to get me caught up in the flesh. They're going to try to get me to say something from my mouth and use my words to do something that doesn't come into agreement with the commands of Jesus, and it doesn't bring about God's or doesn't expand God's kingdom. Oh goodness, the enemy is going to try, like I can feel right now, there's like a spirit of timidity over me, so I need to pray against that and not bow down to it. So, but oh goodness, like these, I understand, like in Ephesians, this is Ephesians 6, when it says we battle not against flesh and blood. I understand this, but it's also important for me to constantly go to God and say, Father, is there any of this in my heart? Am I doing this to anyone? And it's very important for me to forgive this woman. And it's easy to actually forgive her, because I didn't see like a confident young woman, or a woman, confident woman, I see somebody who is just really full of bitterness and hate, and it seems like the majority of their life is just spent in a performance where they're pretending to be happy, they're pretending to be, this, pretending to be that. But then these moments when something goes awry, something doesn't go in accordance to the way they think it should go, all this hate and anger seeps out. But I believe that hate and anger is always in there, and so it's all like it's something that they're stewing in all the time. And I do not desire to see anybody, bound by bitterness and tormented, by the spiritual consequence of unforgiveness and bitterness, and just like that, angry about things that others would consider completely just petty, and also, like, the intent is always to hurt the other person, the intent is to punish the other person. It's very, very evident, and I do not desire to see anybody remain in that. I desire to see everybody set free, and 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 it's troubling to know how much, like, this might just seem like an isolated, small, like, minor story, and occurring just in the lives of like two people. But I see this as you know um kind of like a glimpse into how angry and aggressive, and there's a word, I think it means like distraught virtually, but unsettled, I think that is probably the best word for it. How unsettled things are in our society, in the spiritual state of people's hearts are. um, and I think it's wise to talk about these things. It's wise to note these things. I find many times these things just get kind of like turning off a TV. They get turned off and they're just ignored. And I do not recommend like focusing on these things in terms of like just like watching um, something that's very depressing. Then you're naturally going to feel very depressed. But I also don't agree with turning a blind eye to it. I agree fully with going to God and asking God, what do you say about this? What are these things? And how do you desire for me to respond to this? What is pleasing in your sight? And also, if you wouldn't have me to be here, would you please reveal to me and show me the way of escape? But also, like, teach me when you say, I send you out as sheep amongst wolves, so be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. Um, would you please reveal to me, like, what are the tactics of the enemy, like, working behind the scenes in this? And would you provide me with deeper levels of understanding that I can be more effective for your kingdom? And also, when I receive your revelation in the purity of what you say about these things, which will always come into alignment and agreement with the Holy Scriptures, then, as I do this and others do this, we can speak with the same labels, we can come into the same agreement, and we can all come together in unity, because we've received via revelation from you directly. And so then these things that are occurring, we can come together on the other side and then have that deeper level of understanding. And once again, Jesus, as you say, be wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove. And then lastly, and most, like, it's not most importantly, but it's equally importantly, um, it's good to really see the impact of like when somebody's aggressive towards you, and they're, um, like this level of aggression is very minimal compared to what it's been, but it's still like, you can feel the impact of it. So then I can say, Father, reveal to me any areas in which I react this way, you know, and reveal to me if I feel pressure, you know, much like turning, oh goodness, a tube of toothpaste upside down. The moment a bit of pressure is applied to it, what is on the inside comes out. I'm not going to shy away from it. And Jesus, you say, no tree, no good tree can bear bad fruit. And you talk about like the thistle not bearing the fruit of, is it a fig, and the fig not bearing the fruit of like a thistle. And then if the light that is within you is darkness, oh, how great is that darkness. So Father, I need you to reveal to me the root cause of these things, and also if I have any idols or anything before you, Father, reveal them to me, that I am going to intentionally make a choice to get rid of them and to turn around and repent to you and then start following you. So this there can be a lot of good coming from these things, but I find going through them, oh goodness, it's, yeah. And I'll talk a little more. I really want to use the bathroom though. That's what I went down there for. I see the owner's mother is in her vehicle. I don't know if I should wait. I'll wait a couple minutes, and I just don't want to. I find when people are angry and they're aggressive, it's wise to not be around them while they're angry and aggressive, lest they take out that anger and aggression on you. So I like to stay out of reach of that, but I really do also have to urinate. So anyways, a lot of good things to learn from this. And also too, I really do not want to take for granted anything that God has done, and anything that he's doing. And I think of in the Holy Scriptures when it says, do not forsake the gathering of the brethren, especially as you see that day quickly approaching. It's going to get darker and darker and darker. The hearts of men and women are going to get darker and darker and darker. There's going to be more hate. There's going to be more cruelty, more bitterness, all these things. And it will make you appreciate and to have a better understanding of how important it is to be around brothers and sisters in Christ that are abiding in the vine and that are full of God's love and his peace and his joy, and like his unconditional love that is from his kingdom. And then you learn from from being around them. You learn like you're like, even just like right now, like I said, like physiologically, like it's almost like that attack, it seeps into your bones, and it seeps into your bones. And can you imagine, like, if like inside, like what this is actually doing to the person in terms of like this level of stress, the impact it has not just on your blood pressure, but just on like your health in general. And it's wise to take note of these things. So anyways, so once I'm out of this, when I'm in my own place, I'm going to ensure that I am very thankful and grateful for my own place. Very thankful and grateful to not have to deal with the outpouring of, goodness, like this harshness. And then also too, to treat everyone that comes into my place with love and kindness and care, and to not sweat the small things. I know that's not a scriptural verse, but it's very important, like do not major in the minors virtually, but to love people and care for people. And if there's any issues, to learn how to speak to people in truth and gentleness, to have them restored, or to not shy away from speaking the truth, but to do it in a way where you're not attacking the person either. And I think I just heard a vehicle leave. Let's see here. Ugh. Nope, not yet. But yeah, so that's something I'm going to learn, and something I'm going to apply, and I have to be bringing into this big time, because yeah, this is starting to become very very unhealthy. And as I mentioned before, okay, she's leaving now, so this is good. I can go to the bathroom. But as I mentioned before, it's a pattern. It's patternized behavior, and I find with one of the biggest things with patternized behavior is people call it red flags, and they say, "Ay, ay, ay." You know, I wish I would have paid attention to that red flag before. I call it a lapse of maturation, and I'm just gonna one second. I'm just gonna urinate, then I'll be right back. Probably too much information, but that is okay. One moment. Okay, I'm back. So I call it lapses of maturation, and by that I mean, if you're part of growing up and part of maturing is accountability and responsibility. So it's not just being accountable for the words that you speak. So that's accountability to God. So every word that you speak, you're accountable to God. But it's also being accountable for how you speak, how you communicate, regardless of how you were raised, regardless of what you were taught growing up. There needs to come a point where you're accountable for what you're saying, and you're in agreement with what you're saying in the way you're saying it. And so that's what I believe in, and that's what I agree with. And but I find, oh goodness, when you're around individuals that aren't like this, it can be really hurtful. And when I was downstairs, I was just thinking, it's interesting because things like this, they can have such an impact on you, where you can mistakenly, believe that many people are like this, and that's just not true, not at all. And when I was downstairs, I was just thinking, oh goodness, I can think of many folks that are not like this, that are actually rather caring, and they're very considerate. And even this morning, I received a really kind message. I'd purchased, had gotten a couple books, one for the Bible study that I'm facilitating, and one from a Bible study that somebody else is facilitating. And I think the one book cost $2, the other book cost $5. And I just mentioned, I haven't paid you yet for that, and I just want to let you know that I will pay you if I don't see you before Sunday on Sunday. And then his reply was, if you're maybe going through some financial difficulties, don't worry about this at all. It's virtually our pleasure to help you. And I thought that was such a very kind and gentle way. He noted that that's true. I am going through this season of impoverishment, and he brought that up. He addressed it, but in a very gentle way that wasn't demeaning, and it didn't take away from me. I didn't, you know what I mean? It was just, he brought it up in a very sensitive way, and just revealed to me that he's more than happy to help. And I just thought that was wonderful. It really warms my heart. It means a lot to me. And I find it's important, to when going through things like this, to understand that the residual effect of this can have kind of like looking through a lens that's been tainted. And then when you're looking through a lens that's been tainted, it's easy to start seeing things from a tainted perspective. And so if you see things from a tainted perspective, it's easy to generalize. And so I find immediately after going through things like this, what I've learned and what I'm really happy to share is to forgive the person from the bottom of your heart right away, but also to understand, you know, that attack has nothing to do with you. I did use the broom to sweep up in the kitchen and to sweep on the staircase, and I updated the owner of what I did yesterday. Like I keep the daily logs, so it's documented, so these accusations can be halted, you know, before they set fire. And I remember laying it up against the wall. Like I'm always gonna return everything like to the exact spot I got it. And I remember it was kind of like sliding down the wall, so I just readjusted it. But that's it. Like I wouldn't touch it outside of that. Um, that's it. Like, and so anyways, but I still want to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I went upstairs. I looked in my room. I didn't see it there, and so I'm really not too sure where it is. But it's gonna turn up. It's a broom. And but anyhow, you know, I forgive her for, you know, for blaming me. I forgive her for that accusation. And you know, it's important, even just saying that aloud. I forgive her, I forgive her. I can feel things release from me. And I've noted that in the past I used to get so angry if anybody accused me of anything. I was so angry about it, and I'd think, how dare you accuse me of that? But in all honesty, I was guilty of a lot of things behind closed doors. And also too, I just um I was very insecure, and I find now I just want to do what is pleasing in God's sight, and I want to be honest before God, so I can have a clear conscience before God. So, you know what I mean? If I get accused of something, I'm certain there's a reasonable explanation, and the reasonable explanation can be sometimes people will even set you up for failure. That's a variable too. But I just need to ensure that my conscience is clear before God, and when it is, then you know, hey, like we can, I'll help you look for the solution, and but I'm also like not going to, like I don't want that to have any impact on the way I think about myself or the way I think about people. So it's the forgiveness, um, preceded by, you know, the correct like understanding, instead of like, you know, the incorrect understanding being um, in behavior being even remotely seen as acceptable in my heart and my mind. Like it's this these every moment is very important. And anyways, yeah, every moment submitted to God is extremely important. God bless you.